Right guys, in this video I will write another basic essay on this topic. Are video games bad for kids? And I'm going to disagree with this one. Let's see. So let's consult with my tutorial, which I have on my website and I will link in the description. Step one, well, writing an essay, writing a basic essay or any kind of an essay is a 6-step process. Step one, decide on your main point and write it down. Let's decide and write it down. Here we are. Video games do not harm children. Video games do not harm children. That's my main point. And now, next. Deciding your main point, write it down. We just did. Okay, next. Come up with 3 supporting ideas. Okay, what would be my 3 supporting ideas here? Well, first, video games develop children's cognitive and even motor skills. We can say motor skills. 2, video games let's say online video games, a special type of video games. Online video games even help children develop social skills. Now, social skills. Again, I'm flying without a net. I'm writing this essay as if I've never done any research on it and I don't have access to the internet. So it's as if I'm writing on a test. And finally, what I'm going to do, something special, something a little bit different I'm going to do in this essay is I'm going to do a counter argument. Some may argue that video games can make children more violent or can make children violent. However, research does not support this view. And although I don't have access to any research, I'm just going to write it here. I'm pretty sure I could find research that says that, hey, you know what, it actually doesn't. But it doesn't really matter because if I'm writing an essay on a test, no one is going to fact check me because there's no point in fact checking me because it's clear that I don't have access to the internet. I can clearly do no research, but I can put together an argument. And here I am. What is my next step? In my next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write out the complete thesis statement. So let's do that. We actually have our we have everything we need for the thesis statement right here. So let's just write it. In fact, again, I'm doing this again. I don't have to copy and paste anything. All I have to do is do this and then do that and then do this. Okay, this is my rough thesis statement. So a thesis statement contains my main point and my supporting points and my 3 supporting points. So here we are. Video games do not harm children, unlike some may argue. We can say that because we're actually doing a counter argument here. So video games do not harm children, unlike some may argue. Now, video games develop children's cognitive and even motor skills, so they actually benefit children. Video games do not harm, but actually benefit. Do not harm, but actually benefit children. There we go. Video games develop children's cognitive and even motor skills. Online gaming, we can say, just so that we change things up. We don't keep repeating video games. Online gaming helps children develop social skills. Why? Because they socialize when they play games, right? Some may argue that video games can make children violent. However, research does not support this view. There we go. And we have all our three arguments here. Two main reasons that we believe so, and one counter argument in which we're going to argue with someone else. Now, what is our next step? We have our full thesis statement. Let's keep moving. Write the body of the essay. Now we're writing the body of the essay. Now let's do it. Let's write the body of the essay. So what is going to be our first body paragraph about? Now our first body paragraph is going to be about this one. Why? Because we're just going to proceed. We're going to proceed step by step. We're going to proceed from our first supporting argument to the next. So our first supporting argument is that video games develop children's cognitive and even motor skills. Okay, when children play video games, they engage their, you know what I actually just did, I skipped the lead sentence, and I shouldn't do that. I'm just gonna copy, I'm gonna paste the statement here. I'm gonna change it up, but I'm gonna make sure that I have a full lead sentence here, or a topic sentence, the same thing. Video games develop, help, okay, we can help children develop their cognitive and motor skills. There we go, that's good. When children play video games, they engage their brains, we can say, we engage their brains, or their neurologists, we can say the same thing. Neurologists, they engage their neurologists in there's neurology, we can say, in quite intense ways. Gaming is essentially problem solving, and this skill engages the brain. I already said intensely, but let's see, quite intense way. Okay, they engage their neurology in quite intense ways. So I'm gonna take out intense from here. I'm gonna say significant ways, and here very intensely. There we go. Okay, I just play around like that. Okay, gaming is essentially problem solving. That's what it is. And this skill engages the brain very intensely. Now, let's throw in some research, as if we've done research. Again, we're flying without a net. Some studies have shown that periods of playing video games produce specific types of learning in young people's brains. Okay, and let's provide an example. My neighbor's son, who is 14, plays video games for a couple of hours every day. His parents claim that that this activity has helped him become more focused when doing his homework. So it's a transferable kind of brain skill, let's say. Okay, let's say that this is the case. We don't have to prove anything again because we're just writing an essay we're writing an essay on a test, so we can't possibly check if this is true or not, but we're making a logical argument. Next, we need to make the next argument. What is our next argument? Online gaming helps children develop social skills. Social skills are also developed when the child is engaged in online video gaming, which usually involves team members, involves teams, involves participating in teams. What are some of the team games? Well, I'm not even sure, so I'm not gonna name any specific games, but what I'm gonna say is online video game usually involves participating in teams. My son plays an online game. You can say, if you're a young person, you can talk about yourself. If you're just a high school student or even a middle school student, you can say, hey, I myself play online games a lot and it has helped me develop my social skills tremendously. If you're a young person, you can talk about yourself. If you are an older person, talk about your child, not a problem. If you don't even if you don't have children, you can make it this example. Like, for example, myself, I don't have any kids, but I am making up this example. Why? Because I can. Who's gonna fact check me on a test? Nobody's gonna fact check me on a test. So my son plays an online game in which my son plays an online game in which he must not participate, okay, in which he is a part of a team. As a result of watching him play, I realized that he is now an effective team player. He has had to learn reliability, trust, and mutual help. And mutual help, especially in moments of difficulty. Especially in difficult moments. Okay, especially in difficult moments. Especially in difficult moments. These are very valuable qualities, and my son displays them in real life as well. There we go. And there's our second paragraph. Now, how many words do we have at this point? If we want a 300-word essay, this is what, 214? Okay, so we're roughly, we're on track. We're on track. So, next. Now, finally, what are we doing here? Some may argue that video games can make children violent. However, some people just mark it. Okay. Now, let's put this here. Now, some may argue, that's fine, may argue that gaming, just say gaming so that we change things up from the way we stated. Did you see what I just did, by the way? What I'm doing is I'm copying my supporting point here, just copying a supporting point, pasting it here, and changing a few things up so that I have a complete lead sentence. So some may argue that gaming, so I'm just changing things up, some may argue that gaming can induce violence. Okay, let's say, use a fancy word, induce violence in children. However, we can say no research supports this view. Okay, just saying exactly the same thing as I said in the thesis statement, just using a few different words, and here I am. Some lay people, meaning non-professionals, and even some of the experts in the field of psychology, some lay people, and even some of the experts in the field of psychology often argue that all the violence in the video games must and does make children more violent by imitation. They claim that children are driven to imitate the behaviors their characters exhibit online, exhibit in the virtual world. However, this argument holds no water. My son does not, okay, before we go to an extreme example, before we go to an example and a specific example, let's explain. This argument holds no water. This argument holds no water and has little to no scientific backing. Little to no scientific backing. There we go. My own research has brought me to the conclusion that this argument researchers, okay, generally do not provide ample evidence for the former argument. And my experience with my son also, my son supports, and my experience with my son is a perfect Example to the contrary. He has never tried. He plays what is it, GTR? What is it called? Where they steal cars or something like that. GTR or something like that. Anyway, I forget. But let's call it GTR a lot. So basically, it's a game where they steal a car and do a lot of crazy things. Nevertheless, he plays GTR a lot, but has never attempted to steal a car in real life. Steal a car in real life. Neither has he expressed a desire to do so. Neither has he ever expressed a desire to do so. Okay, this is a longer argument because a longer paragraph because it has two parts. It has the part, see, it has the part of they argue that, and then the second part is however they are wrong, and this is why they're wrong. So it's a double whammy. It's a double paragraph. Word count, our word count is already 350. So let's keep our conclusion super short. To conclude, video games not only do video games not harm children, but they even help them develop cognitive and social skills. Now let's look at something, because in the beginning I kind of mentioned that video games develop children's cognitive and even motor skills. I never really talked about motor skills. I never talked about motor skills here at all. I just talked about cognitive skills. So let me take out motor skills at all, completely here. Cognitive skills, that's it. So video games help develop children's cognitive skills. Forget about motor skills. Why? Just because I don't feel like it. I don't feel like writing about the motor skills, especially since I already have 370 words and I only needed 300. So here we are. That's exactly how you do it. That's exactly how you write a 300-word essay. Very easy. You can do it on a test or any other purpose. Please like the video, and please remember that I have the I have a link to this tutorial in the description, and I'm also linking to the video tutorials, including the tutorial on how to write a counter argument. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.